Hi, Kat from Global Grind here, and I have the lovely Katherine Schwarzenegger here. She's here to talk about I just graduated, now what? Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to know what inspired you to write this book?
Just experiencing post-college graduation nightmare is what inspired me to write the book. I graduated almost 2 years ago, so in May it'll be 2 years, which is crazy.
Where did you graduate from?
USC.
Okay.
So I graduated, had absolutely no idea what I was going to do next, and I was scared out of my mind and really embarrassed that I didn't have a plan for myself. So when I was trying to decide what exactly I was going to do next, I was talking to a lot of my friends and realized that they also didn't know what they were going to do and felt a huge amount of pressure to figure out a plan very quickly.
Right.
So I decided that I would try and write a book where I would interview people that I think people our age would want to hear from and get their advice for recent college graduates, and also talk about what they wish they had known after college graduation to better prepare themselves, and
this came the book. So I was reading the book, and one of the interesting things that I was reading about was your mom. She actually spoke at your graduation,
she did.
Right?
She was my commencement speaker.
Right. And she was talking about this concept, pausing.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit?
So my mom, when she was asked to be the commencement speaker and checked if that was okay with me, and I was like, of course, that would be amazing. And she wanted to, when she was thinking of what to talk about at my graduation, she was trying to come up with a speech or a topic that would be different from what your average commencement speaker would talk about. So most people come and talk about all of their accomplishments and like what all the great things they've done in their life after they graduated college, and it makes you, and it ends up making the people feel terrible about themselves.
Terrible, right?
Like, oh my God, I have so much to do in my life to get to where you are.
Exactly.
And so my mom didn't want to do that, and she was very clear about that, which I thought was great and a huge relief because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So she ended up talking a lot about when she graduated college, how she felt, how she also felt that she didn't know what she wanted to do, and that when people would ask her, so now what are you going to do that you've graduated, what are you going to do next, that she would just tell people, oh, I'm going to law school, just to kind of shut people up. So she decided to talk all about pausing and kind of giving that as an answer for when someone says to you, so what are you going to do now? You say, I'm pausing, which also shuts people up very quickly because they have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So she kind of talked about it in a way that kind of focuses on taking a moment and realizing what a huge accomplishment you just had by finishing college and graduating from college, which is such an amazing moment in your life, and not just rushing on to the next big thing in your life. So not just graduating and saying, okay, I need to get a job, I'm not even going to focus on the fact that I just graduated. And obviously people graduate college and want to get a job right away, and that's great and so amazing, and I think if everyone could do that and knew what they want to do after college, they would also do that. But she just kind of talked about it in a way that's like wanting you to congratulate yourself and kind of sit in that moment of, okay, I'm graduating college, this is a really big deal.
What did your peers think about that?
They loved it. They all were like, thank you God that your mom kind of gave that speech and you used that as gave that as an answer for them to use, because they all ended up walking out of our college graduation and saying to everyone, I'm pausing, Mom, I'm pausing, Dad, I'm pausing, like, don't ask me what I'm going to do anymore.
Exactly.
So it ended up becoming a huge excuse or answer for all of my friends, and they were like, thank God that your mom gave
It definitely helped them out.
Yeah.
And speaking of pausing, you interviewed a lot of people in your book. Anderson Cooper. I was reading how he talked about kind of taking a pause after he graduated college. So he took a year off because he didn't know what he wanted to do and he didn't want to rush anything. So what do you think about taking a year off? And like, is that something that is that an advice that you would give people to do?
I mean, the bottom line is if you have the opportunity to take some time off, I think that's a great thing. Not everyone does, because a huge amount of people graduate and have to pay back a lot of student loans and have to get to work right away in order to do that. So I know that that's not a realistic thing for a lot of people, and I don't think it's like a defining factor in, you know, starting your career or being very successful at all. I was fortunate enough where I could take some time off in the summer and kind of think about what I wanted to do with my life and what my next step would be in my life, so I was able to do that. I think Anderson would say that he thought of that year after college and even the first 2 years out of college to be the worst years of anyone's life because you're so confused and so lost about really everything in your life. You don't know what you're going to do as your career, you don't know where life's taking you, you don't know where you want to live. Like, there are a million different questions that are going on in your head. So I think for everyone it's different. I think if you talk to like Megan McCain, who I also interviewed, she would say absolutely get right to work and don't move home and, you know, don't do what a lot of people are doing. So I think for everyone it's different. It depends what kind of environment you personally have to be in order to thrive.
You also interviewed John Legend.
Yes.
And one of the great things about that was he started working in finance, right, after he graduated, because all of his friends were doing that as well, and he didn't know what he wanted to. Well, he wanted to do music, but he had student loans to pay.
Yes.
So it also just goes to show you that you could still follow your dreams, but at the end of the day, if you do have to, you know, get out there and work, that shouldn't stop you from going after. So speak a little bit more about that.
I mean, I think that all of the people who are in the book show you that there isn't one specific path that you have to take anymore when you graduate college. So that's very different from when our parents graduated college, because it was a much more specific path that you take when you graduate. You go into this job and you stay in that job for the rest of your life.
Right.
Now you can have 8 different jobs by the time you're 30, and that's okay.
Right.
You know, you can also do what John Legend did and know what you want to do, go into finance because you have to get a job and pay off your student loans. And still at night, he was able to go and perform and do his music, and then able to actually become hugely successful in his music career.
So you have a really good work ethic, and where does that come from?
I think that comes from both of my parents. I come from a very hardworking family where I was constantly surrounded when I was younger by people who are very hardworking and very passionate about what they do. So I think that kind of rubbed off on me a little bit, which I feel very lucky.
You come from a very famous family. What would you say to people who might think that you don't know that feeling of what to do after graduating, and they might think that you have it easy?
I think I've actually dealt with this a lot, and especially in my first book, a lot of people also had questions about that. The reality is that no matter what family you come from, how famous your family is, how much money they have, the reality is that you still experience the normal feelings that every other young woman who's graduating college and about to start in the real world feels. So just because I come from 2 well-known parents doesn't mean that that numbs me from all the other feelings that a normal person would feel when they're about to close the chapter of college and start a new chapter in the real world.
So your dad said something interesting in the book when you interviewed him. He said it's not about money, it's about feeling productive.
Yeah.
And what would you say? Would you say that that is one of the main things that people, you know, want to feel like in life? They want to feel productive?
I think a lot of people end up taking jobs right out of college that offer them more money instead of going with something that they're passionate about. And that was a huge theme in the book that came up a lot with people that I interviewed, and also with different friends that I saw taking different jobs. And so I think that's a big theme. But I think no matter what you're doing in life, if you feel like you're doing, if you feel at the end of the day like you're being productive, that makes you feel great about yourself. So I tell some of my friends sometimes who don't love their jobs that even if they can do something outside of their jobs that makes them feel like they're doing something good or worthwhile, that makes them feel that much better about themselves. So I think that's a big topic.
Right. What's the best advice you've ever gotten from your parents?
The best advice I've ever gotten from my mom would probably be to trust your gut. When I was younger, she always used to tell me that, but I think as you get older, you have more experiences that allow you to trust how you feel about certain situations. And as I've gotten older, I've definitely been able to have my trial and errors with testing how I really feel about things. And the most important gift that she's given me has been is the ability to trust the way I feel, my gut instincts about things. My dad's best piece of advice would probably be the fact that he never lets any other people's opinions get in his way of what he wants to accomplish in life. He's always told me that if I have a very clear vision for where I want to go in life, never to listen to the naysayers and to just focus on it and do it.
So which music artist is your favorite and who are you listening to right now?
I would like to say something new, but I listen to Beyonce all day, every day. I have her albums all on repeat in my car and in my bedroom.
How surprised were you when she dropped the album?
I was shocked, but it came out on my birthday, so it was like the biggest birthday present ever.
The biggest birthday present ever.
I know, I was like beyond happy. So my brother gets really annoyed because whenever I have to drive him somewhere, my younger brother, he's like, can we not listen to something else other than Beyonce? And I'm like, no, if you want to listen to something else, get in someone else's car.
Exactly.
It's not gonna happen here. Hi, it's Katherine Schwarzenegger. You can get my new book, I Just Graduated, Now What, on Amazon.com or at your local bookstore. And we're watching Global Grind TV.